Welcome to Analytics with Nags. In this modeling part 4 video, we are going to check about what is active and inactive relationship, and in our second part of this video, we will discuss about factless fact table. If you haven't watched my previous modeling videos, just watch it, which will give you the core fundamentals or building blocks of Power BI modeling. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon for notification. Let's begin with today's topic. So what is active or inactive relationship? Let's talk about active. So active relationship propagates filters to other tables. So when you create a relationship between tables from fact to dimension, a dimension to fact is one to many. So it will propagation, the filters enable you to, the relationship basically enables you to propagate the filters. Whatever you filter in the dimension, that will filter the records in the fact. That is why you create a relationship. So when you have member like a date or a product, anything as a dimension, when you filter it, it will automatically filter the fact table. That is your active relationship. When we need to go for inactive, you need to understand the concept called role playing dimension. Basically, like you have a date column in your sales, you have order date and ship date. So instead of creating two different dimension for order date and ship date in the fact, you create a single dimension table called role playing dimension, and one you create an active relationship, another you create an inactive relationship for ship date. Then the inactive relationship only propagates filters when a DAX expression activates the relationship. So once you define the inactive relationship, you can enable the relationship using a DAX expression. That is what it is all about, the active and inactive relationship. Another classic example is like airport. You have a fact table where arrival airport will be in one column and the departure airport will be another column. So you can create a single dimension called airport, and based on that you can analyze it. So these are some of the classic examples of role playing dimensions, and it depends upon each business scenario, this will differ. Let's try to understand what is the problem when you have a role playing dimension, how to overcome it. Let's jump into Power BI. Now we have a simple star schema here, that is dim product connected to fact internet sales. We are not going to focus anything on dim product. Our main focus is on dim date. So now, as I said before, you can see the relationship as soon as you import it. The fact internet sales and dim date is from Adventure Works, and this contains already a primary foreign key relationship. So automatically Power BI has detected it, and you can see here the first relationship is active. However, I know it, just you can see here, make this relationship active, which is order date key and date key. So you can have only one active relationship between the tables. Now other tables over here, I mean other columns, like this particular relationship is for the ship date. So you have a date key here and also the ship date key. So this cannot be active. When I click on it, it says like you cannot create a direct active relationship because an already active relationship exists. This is because the design of Power BI, the main purpose of the dimension table is for the filtering purpose. Once you have this, anything you filter it, that will navigate to the internet sales. But if you have a different columns connected from to, like different columns in the fact table connected to the same dimension, it becomes a problem while propagation. That is why another column will be a inactive relationship. It can have many inactive relationship, and you can have only single active relationship. Now this is fine. Let me delete this relationship, okay, and try to understand what is the problem, how we will solve using this inactive and active relationship. So assume we do not have any relationship between these two tables, and I have a simple table over here, and try to understand the data beginning from the beginning so that it will be easy to understand. Now we have a fact internet sales where you have an order date here, and you can see this is the order date, like 6th of Feb 2013, and it is delivered a week after, okay. But when you go to the end of this month, right, 27th of February 2013, you see there will be 10 to 15 orders placed on the February, but not all the orders are shipped on the same month. Out of 10 to 15 orders, only 5 orders might be shipped on the February month. You see here, this particular order 27 to 2013 is the order date where it is shipped on March the 6th. So the order count is 15 on February, whereas for the shipment, I mean whatever it shipped, it is less than the order count, okay. So this is the point I want you to understand. Let's go to our dashboard now. I have a simple table here, and I didn't use anything on the date table now. So now you see here I use the sales quantity and order date, okay, and here I use the sales quantity with the ship date. As we already seen, like whatever the order quantity will not be same as the ship quantity. You see here, the in 2011 quarter 1 there are 438 orders, whereas only 417 has been shipped. So now what is the basic problem when you have the dimension like this, okay. And when you see here, when you click on it for a particular quarter, the sales quantity over here is 538, whereas the user wants to see how many quantities shipped during this quarter 1. The actual count is 417. I didn't filter anything, that's why it's coming. But as soon as you filter it, you see here the data changes to 403, but the user might thought like he will see only 417, because that is what those many quantities are shipped during that quarter. But it is showing different figure, because whatever you are focusing here, you are filtering the order date, and the ship date is different for those orders. You are filtering only those orders that happened during quarter 1, okay. That is why this will not consider anything related to ship date. So mostly it is purely dependent. Even the other case is like, so this is one important problem. You are seeing different values when you want to see the actual shipped quantity during that quarter. Then people will confuse with which date to use, whether they need to filter it here or here, which date to use. That will become a very confusion when you have something design like this. So these are the two important problems, and how we can address this is like, let's try to build a relationship between the order date key and the date key. So let's enable it. As we enabled it, then we need to use the order date, I mean the dim date hierarchy as a filter. Then instead of using order date, we will go for the order date here. I mean, I will remove the order date. We will use the date hierarchy from the dim date table. So we will remove other things as we seen before, and also let's try to format it same like here. If it increase, now it is not increasing. Let me increase the size slightly so that people can view it better. Now once you have a similar design over here, how this will affect, so whether it solves the problem once you connect, no. Let me show it to you. In 2011 I am filtering Q1, and the same issue persists here, because now you are trying to connect only the order date key with the dim date column, so this count works fine. Whereas once you filter it, this also should filter, right? You no need to give anything over here. I mean, this date dimension should be uh, removed. I mean, you no need to use this one, but you cannot. How you can get this value 417, right? So this value you can get it once you link this ship date, okay, to the date dimension again, and you write the formula to simulate it. So that is what I'm saying. So ship date key, I'm joining it here. Now it will automatically ask me to create the inactive relationship. You can see this is not active, and whereas for this you see this is the active relationship. Now if I say, like, in the inactive relationship, make it as active, then it will throw me error or warning. You cannot do it because already an active relationship exists. So coming back here, how I can simulate this value here 417 over here. So now I have written a formula here. This is very simple DAX calculation, like sales quantity for ship. So instead of using the ship date key for your analysis, you are using the dim date key and you are activating the relationship of ship date key. So this will happen only if you have an inactive relationship. So what you are doing, you use the count rows, use relationship, ship date key and dim date key. So whatever you filter in dim date key, that will activate the ship date inactive relationship and filter those value alone. So now use this measure along with here. So I will use this value over here. Now you can see easily whatever value over here for the 2011 quarter 1 438,417 appears, whereas when you press 2011 quarter 1 dim date, this is still gives you the wrong results because of the reason that we explained before. So we will get rid of this. You can start using only this particular measure. So basically, to summarize, you need to have one active relationship that will not require any special measure, but when you have an inactive relationship and gets the exact count for that particular shipment date or the particular filter applied, you need to activate it and get that respective value over here. This is what, and you need to use the dimension, whatever dimension the role playing dimension happened, I mean created, as the filter. So this filter applies to both the measures and you will get the respective results. Let's move on to our next part, factless fact table. So factless fact table, it doesn't include any measures columns. So if you have a fact table, if that doesn't contain any of the measures, as you know, measures means it is a numerical quantity that you want to analyze, like it's a quantity or sales amount or it's a commission amount, anything that is numerical quantity that you want to summarize and aggregate, that is called your measure. If a fact table doesn't contain any measure, then it's called factless fact table. So what it contains then? It contains only a dimension keys. So how you can imagine is like this is some example, like it contains a date time, location and audit has been conducted. Just consider it's some audit has been conducted. So it contains only the audit ID, when it is conducted, who has conducted and which location. That's it. So when you have this one, there is no measure to sum up or aggregate. So you can see only the factless fact table, only the count of audits happen in this location in this time or which conducted by which person. So only the count can be the aggregation, okay, in case of factless fact table. Another example you can imagine is like in a web page, which person, who has logged in and which location. So this can be a simple logging kind of stuffs, so that you can analyze, so from which location which person has logged in. So you can have some analytics out of that count measure, right? So these are some of the examples of factless fact table. Let's try to check it out in the Power BI in the same example. So we are not going to do anything with this. Let's try to import some example from factless fact table that we already have. So in AdventureWorks, I have some survey response. Let us see what it contains. So this is a typical example of your factless fact table, where you can see this is the unique ID for the fact, survey response key 1234, and when this survey is got recorded, so that is the date key, then which customer has provided for which product. So just a simple only the dimension keys it contains. It doesn't contain how many count or quantities sold, nothing. Just it will contain the only the dimension keys. That is called your factless fact table. So now in order to analyze, you can have this customer over here, and also what else it is there, it is product subcategory. I can also include the product subcategory. Now let's load it. Let's do import. Let's wait for it. Once it loaded, now you can see this is your fact. Okay, this dim product has been related to this product that is not required right now. This is fine. Now this customer also linked to this fact. So people often ask me how to handle multiple fact table. There is no different thing over here. You can see this is one fact table, this is another fact table, and this part is considered as one star schema, and this is considered as another star schema. So you can have a multiple fact tables, that doesn't make any difference to me. So now I'm adding product subcategory key over here. That's it. So you can also add the date key over here. Now you see there are two common dimensions between these two facts. This is one fact and this is another fact. Date is related to this fact table and date also related to this fact. Okay, so we are getting into multiple fact tables, so let us not waste our time in that. I will take another session on that. Now you can see here, this is your factless fact table connected to dimensions, 3 different dimensions. How you can analyze it is nothing difference over here. I can able to have some visual here, total count of survey response key. That's it. There are 2727 responses happen, and I can analyze by what are the different product categories. Okay, in which category this has happened. You can keep analyzing based on different analysis. So it is not a very big deal. That's what I am saying all about. So just you can use some of the count measures. You can, if you want, you can create some new measure like count rows of fact survey response. Let me create it. Fact count survey response count rows. What is that? View demo fact response. That's it. So mostly the factless fact table, you have only the count as your measure to analyze. So you have a same measure. Now you can analyze with different dimensions for this particular analysis. You can analyze, right? So this is what simple thing about a factless fact table. It's just a conceptual thing. It works similar to other fact table. I hope you understand both the logics, active and inactive relationship, as well as factless fact table. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and comment below for queries. Do remember that data is your asset.